Welcome to this Pastel My Business Online webinar.
When you create a company in My Business Online, the chart of accounts are automatically created for you. A chart of accounts is a listing of the names of the accounts that a company has identified and made available for recording transactions in its general ledger. A company then has the flexibility to tailor its chart of accounts to best suit its needs, including adding accounts as needed. Within the chart of accounts, you will find that the accounts are listed in the following order. Balance sheet accounts, such as assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. There's also income statement accounts, such as operating revenues, operating expenses, non-operating revenues and gains, and non-operating expenses and losses. Within the categories of operating revenues and operating expenses, accounts might be organized by business functions, such as producing, selling, administrative, financing, and or by the company divisions. A company's organization chart can serve as an outline for the accounting chart of accounts. For example, if a company divides its business into 10 departments, such as production, marketing, human resources, etc., each department will likely be accountable for its own expenses, the salaries, supplies, telephone costs, etc. You can now create an account for each department to record its own salaries, expenses, and supplies, should you wish. A chart of accounts will likely be as large and as complex as the company itself. An international corporation with several divisions may need thousands of accounts, whereas a small local retailer may need a few as 100 accounts or less. There are 10 different account categories in My Business Online. The cost of sales account is used for any costs that are associated with sales, and is used to calculate the company's gross profit. The current assets account is used when assets are expected to be sold or used under years, such as cash assets. The current liabilities account is used when liabilities are expected to be settled within a year, such as tax owed. The expenses account is used if there were any costs incurred in your company, such as advertising, rent, stationery, and so on. The income tax account can be used when there are taxes levied on the net income of a company. The non-current assets account can be used for items of value lasting for more than a year, such as properties. The non-current liabilities account is used when there is a company liability that must be settled in the future, such as loans and mortgages. The other income account can be used if there was income received on interest or discounted goods. The owner's equity account is used for the owner's interest transactions within the company. The sales account can be used for non-item based sales transactions. To create a new account on My Business Online, you will select the Accounts tab in the menu option. Then you'll select the Accounts option. I'm just waiting for your screen to refresh. Once you've selected the Accounts tab, a list of the accounts that you have already created will be listed for you. Then you can select Add Account. While I wait for the screen to refresh, you will then enter the account name. Once I've entered the correct account name, in the category drop-down menu, I will select the appropriate category. You use these categories to sort your accounts. The category that you will select will automatically post the transaction to the correct system account. Since I'm creating an on-site sales account, I'll select a sales category. I then have an option to enter a description, as well as enter a note. In order for you to process to this account, you have to select the active option. Should this option be not selected, I will not be able to process to this account. I can click on Save, which will then create that account, or Save a new if I wanted to create a new account. You also have an option to enter an opening balance, if you have an opening balance to enter, as well as a date of when this opening balance must be referred to. The Activity tab displays the opening balance of the account as well as the transactions which are either increased or decreasing of the account balance. The Notes tab will enable you to create and store as many notes regarding that account, and then you'd be able to create your account. There is a question here by Cheryl. With regards to your question, Cheryl, as I mentioned before, you are muted because this will just ensure that everybody can hear me clearly. Unfortunately, I can't unmute you. If you have any questions to ask me, kindly type them through to in the question box, and I'll be able to see them and answer you back. Another option that you have under the Accounts tab will be adjusting the opening balances. Since your chart of accounts are created for you by My Business Online, you can now then adjust those balances by clicking on the Accounts tab and Adjust Opening Balances. You then have the option to select the account. I have a Reason tab should I want to enter a reason for the opening balance. I then can, the new opening balance, I can enter that with the specific date and click on Save. Just as easy as that, you can then enter all your account, adjust your account balances. I'm sure some of you are thinking, how does My Business Online calculate these financial balances? My Business Online maintains the following system accounts, which are calculated for the financial reporting based on the transactions that you're processing. For instance, the sales account will be the total of all your item sales, exclusive of tax, the cost of sales and purchases. This is the cost of all your physical items, sales based on the weighted average cost of the item at the time of sale, plus the cost of all service item purchases. We also have the item adjustments. This is the total of all item adjustments. Discount received and discount allowed will be the discounts applied when processing payments to suppliers as well as processing receipts from customers respectively. You've also got obviously the bad debts account, and that will be the total of all the customer write-offs. We have trade receivables. This is a total of all the outstanding customer balances. The inventory, or the items, this is the value of all the items that you have on hand, as well as the value of the item, which is calculated with the weighted average cost. You've got your bank accounts, which is the balances that are affected by the receipts, customer receipts, supplier payments, account payments, etc. We've got our trade payables, which is the total of all the accounts, outstanding supplier balances, as well as a tax payable account. Should you be using invoice-based or payments-based tax, you will then have a tax payable, which will be the total of your output tax and sales less all the input tax, if you're obviously using invoice-based tax. You also have the tax provision account. When you use the payment-based tax system, the tax provision account accumulates the tax amounts of the unpaid customer and supplier invoices. Once you've created your accounts and added the opening balances or adjusted the balances accordingly, you then have reports which affect those accounts that you can view. A list of accounts, that's just purely a report that's showing you the list of all the accounts that you may have. You have account transactions. Any movement between the accounts will be viewed in this report. And then we also have the profit and loss report, as well as a statement of assets and liabilities. Financial statements are the formal summaries of the financial activities of the different units. There are 3 types of financial statements that are available on My Business Online. To view the financial statements, you will click on the reports. You click on the reports tab and then click on the financial statements tab. I'm just waiting for the screen to refresh on your side. The three types would be the profit and loss, statement of assets and liabilities, as well as the trial balance. And the profit and loss report is obviously a breakdown of the income and expenditure of your company profit and loss. And then the statement of assets and liabilities, this is the financial value of your assets and liabilities of your company. The trial balance will show the account balance as well as any net profit or loss after tax. When you select to view a report, like the trial balance, you have an option to view, to select a date range, be it a monthly, life to date, yearly. You have an option to select which year, this year or last year. You also have an option to see the closing balance. Just waiting for the report to generate on your side. Now that the trial balance has been generated by My Business Online, I then can have the option now to see my sales, to see my purchases, and obviously the source of that account. I've got two questions from Yvette. She's saying, why can I not see income under the category? I want to add commission earned. Should it go under other income? With regards to your question, Yvette, I would suggest it going under sales because it is an income. But what I can do, I definitely will double check for you and email you back because I do have your email address. Another question, which is from Terry: how do I print to Excel a detailed general ledger for one account or a range of accounts? You can export a report of your accounts to Excel, and you do this by clicking on accounts, list of accounts. Then by selecting your specific account or the range of the accounts that you're looking for, you can then view, print the report, and when you need to print it, you can then export it to Excel. I hope I've answered your question with regards to printing a detailed general ledger for one account. Why can I not print the trial balance for the current year with opening balances included? This is a question from Mlungisi. You're looking for a trial balance for the current year with opening balances. You should be able to look at a trial balance with opening balances. I'm just opening it up for you, Mlungisi. Another option I would suggest to you, Mlungisi, should you not see the report with the opening balances, would be to export this to Excel, and then you have the option of adding on your opening balances. Reason being is that with My Business Online, it wasn't meant to be, a full accounting system. Reason being, it was created for your small businesses, for the simple processing. When I say simple processing, it's, as you can see with the language used in My Business Online, we've got items, customers, suppliers. So we didn't want to, clutter the whole system with a whole lot of functionalities. For your management accounting purposes, I would suggest that you then, export it to Excel to make any further adjustments. I hope I've answered you, Mlungisi, with regards to that. When you're also looking at a profit and loss report, My Business Online has the option of calculating the cost of sales for you. When it's calculating the cost of sales, it's either under purchases or sales. Just open up the reports. Just waiting for the screen to refresh on your side. And profit and loss. There is another question from Therusha. When will the budget comparison be available for the profit and loss report? Therusha, I cannot give you an exact date with regards to that, but what I can suggest is please can you send an email to suggestions@pastel.co.za. Reason being is that our developers are constantly looking for suggestions on how to make the product better. So should you have any suggestions with regards to any functionality with the program, please send it through to suggestions@pastel.co.za and you will be answered back with regards to a budget comparison or any question that you have accordingly. I've got another question from, I think it's Rajesh or Raji. I'm sorry, you're saying it took up quite long to get, is this to log on? Do you have a question, Rajesh? Because you're saying that you're a bit lost. I'm not too sure with regards to what. Just to answer you, this webinar is on the chart of accounts on My Business Online. You do not create or select a industry-specific chart of accounts. My Business Online creates accounts for you, which you'll be using, where you can then adjust your opening balances. You can then, by adding an account, and then you can enter opening balances. When you're creating an account, you will then enter the category. There's another question from Yvette. Can you link this product to Pastel's Business Intelligence Center? Unfortunately not, because My Business Online is internet-based. If you've got your BIC Advanced, you would then be able to write a report. And obviously BIC is using Excel. So what I would suggest, if you had a report written, that would obviously need to be to take out information. But eventually, I will definitely follow up on that. I would say I don't think so, because obviously it's picking up on information. But if you've got the advanced module, you will then be able to pick up the information for report. So what I will do, Yvette, I will get back to you with regards to BIC and My Business Online. When you're running the profit and loss report, My Business Online enables you, well, gives you two options, whether you're going to calculate the cost of sales based on purchases or sales. Reason being is there's two different calculation methods of the cost of sales, and you will need to identify the calculation that suits your business. Calculation of cost of sales based on the purchases. When you select to calculate the cost of sales based on purchases, My Business Online will display a purchase line on the profit and loss report. Purchases in the sum of all item purchases in that selected period. This will include physical and service items. To accurately calculate your cost of sales when using this option, you will need to perform the following. You need to create the following accounts: the inventory movement, which is going to be assigned to the current asset category, the opening inventory, which is assigned to the cost of sales account category, as well as the closing inventory, which is assigned to the cost of sales account. Before you create these accounts, we do recommend that you consult with your accountant, because obviously any transactions that are processed are going to, processing the journal entries accordingly. You or your accountant will then process manual journal entries, which will increase the movement by affecting the closing inventory with regards to the inventory on hand. My apologies, can you now hear me? Is Rajesh saying that I am breaking up? I hope that I am audible to everybody. With regards to the cost of sales, when your enterprise begins, the item opening balance of the account is obviously zero. During the year, items are bought and sold, and at the end of the year, the leftover items are physically counted and valued to determine the closing balance for that year, which is obviously in turn the opening balance for the next year. The calculation of this would obviously be value of the items purchased minus the item's closing balance, which will then be the cost of sales or the value of the item sold for that year. There's another question from Marcus. All right. Okay, so it's not a question. Thank you very much, Marcus, who's saying that I am breaking up, but it is minimal. I'm just glad that everybody can hear me. Once you've looked at your profit and loss, which I did obviously on the purchases, it will then enable the line of the purchases to appear. And obviously any report that you're looking at can be emailed, printed, and exported, either to PDF, Excel, or any image. You can even save that report. There's another question from, I think it's Viola. How do you pass journals, be it clear debtors or creditors? To pass journals, you would have to go to the accountants area, click on process journal entries. Just waiting for the screen to appear. And then you would, select that specific accounts that are going to be affected. But I would definitely suggest consulting your accountants before you process journals, because obviously they're going to affect your trial balance. There's another question, I think it's from Nauri. If I have a 20 times transaction, or 20x, I'm assuming that's 20 times transaction that I want to group, is an account the right way to do this? When you're saying 20 times, I'm not too sure how, is it 20 transactions or that you would need to group, because obviously an account is where you're going to be posting your transactions, be it, is it a sales, if it's sales transactions or expenses. So maybe if you can possibly, what I'll do, Nelry, I will email you back, and then you'll have my details, and then we can then, follow up exactly, and I get more information with regards to how I can better assist you. And also remember, should you be, any questions that you might have, I do suggest, or support-related queries, we do have an award-winning support contact center where you can email them at support@pastelmybusiness.co.za. We do have dedicated team that is supporting My Business Online clients. So all your questions will be answered. Should you wish to speak to somebody over the phone, please just send an email with regards to the contact details, and they will be able to assist you telephonically as well. Then there's a question from Yvette, who's saying she clicked on the download option, and there's a report designer which she has downloaded, and she wants to see if that can accommodate, which is similar to BIC. No. Yvette, the report designer is a functionality which enables you to customize your customer or supplier documents. You won't be able to write reports as in like, as you like BIC does. It enables you to, like your forms designer and your other Pastel accounting packages, would enable you to put the layout of your customer statements, what you want, and invoices, etc. So it's not about the designing of the reports. It's designing of the documents. Yes, Nauri is now explained to me, says 20 different transactions, like expenses. Yes, if you wanted to group them, definitely an account would be the best option, because now for your reporting purposes, you can then see for that specific account what activity has happened. You can even add notes when you to maybe further explain those 20 different transactions, or you can, as I said, create an account. I'm waiting for the screen to refresh on your side, Nelly. And then you can obviously have that category, which will be your expenses category. Put there the description of whichever desired description, and then you'll have the opportunity to enter notes accordingly. There's a question from Kashni who's saying, how do you pass a customer journal entry for a supplier, like a settlement discount? All right, you would then need to go to your accounts tab and process the journal entry. I'm not at liberty, Kashni, to advise you what accounts to debit and credit, but I would suggest that you contact your accountant, who would obviously assist you with regards to passing journals. There you can then process, once you've selected accounts and then accounts, you have an option to, under the quick links, you can click on the accountants area and process journal entries. And then you would select the relevant journals that you want to affect. There's another question from Simon who's saying, sorry, I'm just looking out for your question, Simon. All right. Please can you retype your, if you can retype your question. Just waiting for all the questions to refresh on my side. Sorry, there's another question from Yvette, is how do you add a company logo to your customer tax invoice? All right. To add a logo, once you've logged into the company, as I said, I'm currently using the demo company, so I won't be able, this option is obviously not available in the demo company. And once you've logged into a company, there's a documents logo tab where you can then browse to there's a tab to browse to the location of adding the logo on. As I said, with My Business Online, we didn't want it to be, cluttered and difficult for you to customize your documents. What I can do, Yvette, I will definitely be able to email you back with regards to adding on a logo. But under the Documents and Logos tab, when you're creating a company, you will be able to then browse. So I would suggest you click on Company. You will have an option here that says Manage Companies when you're logged in, and then you can find the Documents and Logos tab to be able to browse and get to your location. All right. As I said, thank you very much for joining me for today's webinar on the accounts. What we covered today, just in summary, was that My Business Online creates your chart of accounts for you and not enables you to select industry-specific accounts. You can then either add accounts to suit and tailor your business, or you can stick with the current set of accounts that are created for you and add opening balances accordingly. The question from Simon was, when I opened my business online, I entered the incorrect balances. How can I change these entries to allow me to balance? I'm assuming you are changing the opening balance. You would then need to pass journal entries, is what I would suggest, just to reverse the incorrect balance, and then affect it. Or alternatively, you can then enter the new balances under their accounts. I'm just opening it up. Because bear in mind, when you are creating an account, Simon, it gives you the option. Let me just see. It would give you the option of an opening balance as of the date. But obviously, once you've added an opening balance, this should be grayed out, so you won't be able to enter like a secondary opening balance. What I would suggest is journal entries to make sure that you have the correct opening balance. But please do consult with your accountant with regards to journal entries that you're going to be processing. Reason being is that any transactions, especially journals that you are doing, do affect your accounting at the end of the day. I hope I have answered everybody's questions. If I have left you out, please feel free to email support@pastelmybusiness.co.za, and we will answer your questions accordingly. Thank you very much again for joining this webinar. Please be aware that there will be future webinars, just focusing on specific areas as we go along each month. With regards to the questions that I will be getting back to, that will be Yvette with regards to the business BRC and My Business Online. I will be emailing you back. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Wawa, and I do appreciate any feedback. Please can you email support in My Business Online just with the feedback of the webinar and the subject line, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining me again.
Thank you for joining us for this My Business Online webinar. If you found it useful, please visit the Pastel website to find out about future My Business Online webinars or training courses. Alternatively, contact us on sales@pastelmybusiness.co.za.